Important disclaimer. This story is shared anonymously. Identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. This story is shared for one reason so that other women who have lived something similar know that they're not alone. If you carried everything and called it normal, this is for you. If you defended someone who wasn't showing up, this is for you. If you are still in the thick of it, or years out, and still healing, this is for you. No part of this content is intended to shame, harass, or publicly identify any individual. This is an act of courage, community, and healing. Please see trigger warnings on your screen before continuing to the story. I want to talk about something that took me years and the baby goat to finally understand. I was a single mother for a long time before I knew I was one. I had a husband, a home, a baby I loved with every cell in my body, and I was doing all of it, alone. This is not a story about bitterness. This is a story about what we normalize, what we carry, and why, if you're carrying it right now, I need you to know. You're not crazy. You're not too much. You are an absolute hero. I got married young. I had just moved to a new country. I was still quietly recovering from a serious accident the year before. The kind that changes you even when you pretend it didn't. I had no community yet, no family nearby. My whole world was new and slightly uncertain. But I had always wanted to be a mother. It was the one thing I never doubted. So when I found out I was pregnant just days after my wedding, I wasn't scared. I was overjoyed. I thought, this is it. A husband, a baby, a life. Everything is falling into place. What I didn't know yet, what would take me nearly a decade to understand, was that I had married someone who was masterful at performing partnership and almost completely absent from actually being one. When I had severe morning sickness, the kind where you cannot keep water down, where you are shaking and hollow and frightened, he didn't call a doctor. He didn't sit with me. He wasn't particularly worried. I told myself, he's just not the nurturing type. That's okay. I can handle this. When I was heavily pregnant, barely able to walk, and had a prenatal appointment to get to, he was in the backyard with his buddies installing a hot tub. I drove myself, barely, and I told myself then, he's doing something for our home. He works hard. I can manage. When my labor started, real active labor, he went to sit in that hot tub to relax. Because I still had time, he said. I told myself, he's right, I'm probably being dramatic. And when I was in the absolute final moments of giving birth, I was crowning, he stepped away to take a phone call, a casual call, explaining calmly to someone why he couldn't meet them for coffee, while I was bringing our daughter into this world. I didn't even register it as Ron. Not then. I was so deep inside the idea that this is just how men are, that I filed it away and moved on. After she was born, I was the one up every night nursing. Every single night. And that was expected, of course, I'm the mom. And honestly, I didn't mind at all. What I minded was everything else. He could come home late and give me a hard time for being upset. And I would try to explain, hey, I've been alone with a baby all day. I haven't had a break since morning. I have been counting the minutes until you walk through that door so I could go to the bathroom for more than 2 minutes. Somehow, I was still the unreasonable one. When my mom flew in from another country, left everything behind to come help us, he spent his energy teaching her how to wring out a towel. We didn't have a washer or dryer. My mother, who had raised me on her own, was being corrected on laundry technique. When our daughter started preschool, 2 mornings a week, he complained about the cost. I was counting down to those mornings like they were oxygen. Not because I didn't love being her mom, I loved it deeply. But those 2 mornings meant I could go to the laundromat alone. I could clean the apartment without a toddler on my hip. I could think a complete thought. That felt like luxury. A laundromat felt like a spa day. And when I said I was tired, when I asked for help, I heard things like, I worked in an office all day. I'm exhausted too. I just spent 30 minutes with her. Can you take over? She needs her mom. I just wanted to take a shower. That's all I was asking for. 10 minutes alone in a shower. At some point, we both worked late shifts at a club. And most mornings, I was still the one getting up early, tired, running on nothing, to walk to our neighbor's house and pick up our daughter. He slept. And there is the thing that still gets me. To everyone on the outside, he was wonderful. At parties, at gatherings, at school events, he was present, engaged, charming, most of the time. Other dads would stand on the sidelines and he'd be right in the middle of things. People would pull me aside and say, You are so lucky. What an incredible father. And I would smile and say, I know, because I believed it. I genuinely believed it. I had learned to see their performance and call it the whole picture, and truly believe that that was it, that that was the truth. There was a day, not long before everything fell apart, when we were at an outdoor festival with friends and their kids. It was a beautiful day, pretty hot, but beautiful. Kids running everywhere, music, laughter, petting zoo. I looked over at my husband. He was sitting alone under a tree, far from the crowd, in the shade, reading a book. My friends looked at him, then they looked at me, tired, thin, pale, doing everything, and one of them said gently, Is he okay? Why is he even here? And I spent the next several minutes defending him, explaining how hard he worked, how much he deserved rest, how thoughtful it was that he even came at all. They looked at me with that expression that I didn't understand at the time. Now I do. It was grief for me because they could see what I couldn't yet. The divorce was ugly. I won't go into all of it today, but I'll tell you one thing. He fought hard for 50-50 custody. The court gave him 30%. On one of his first scheduled days with our daughter, a day she had been looking forward to, dressed and ready and excited, he didn't show up. His sister in law had gone into labor and he'd gone to the hospital to be with his brother. They didn't want him in the delivery room. Who would? So he checked into a hotel nearby to be available, just in case. Our daughter was waiting. I had to explain to her why daddy wasn't coming for ice cream. He had chosen someone else's birth over his own child, and he didn't seem to think that was remarkable. At the custody hearing, I wore a skirt I had had for years. I had to wrap it around myself twice and pin it to keep it from falling off. I was that thing. I still have that skirt to the day. I keep it in my closet. I can't even pull it past my knees now. I keep it because I need to remember what that kind of slow, invisible weight does to a body. I keep it so I never forget how far I've come. Here's the part you did not expect. A few weeks ago, I was taking care of a baby goat for a friend who was out of town. Just a few days. And one evening, I was trying to set up his little pen. This tiny animal tucked under my arm, trying to latch the walls with my other hand, and I felt it. That particular loneliness, the specific kind where you're doing everything and there is no one coming, and you're the only person you can count on. It felt way too familiar. I almost couldn't breathe. My daughter, she is a teenager now, and I love her deeply, was in her room and came up with a bunch of excuses why she couldn't help me that night. That's normal teenage behavior, right? But something about that moment, that small, ordinary moment, cracked something open in me. All the anger I hadn't fully processed, all the grief I'd set aside to stay functional, it just surfaced. Because I realized I felt this lonely when she was a baby. I had a husband in the next room, and I felt exactly this alone. The next day, my partner came over. He brought me lunch. He helped with the goat. He sat with me while I held that little animal. And at one point, he just quietly picked up a spoon and started feeding me because my hands were full. That night, he offered to take the overnight shift to handle the 2 a.m. bottle so I could sleep. He had work in the morning, yet he set everything up before he left so my day would be easier. No announcement, no performance, no audience. And he took my daughter to school, was on time, didn't forget anything. On top of that, he took her to her doctor's appointment. On time, didn't forget, didn't announce, just did it. And I sat there thinking, this is what I could have been having. This is what it could have been like when she was a baby, when I was drowning. This was always available to me. I just didn't know it because I never had it. And now somehow I have to grieve something that I never had. I never even thought of being possible. I share all of this, the hot tub, the phone call, the skirt I had to pin around myself, because I know some of you are living inside a version of the story right now. You're defending someone who isn't showing up. You're calling loneliness normal. You're telling yourself, I can manage. I don't need much. At least he came to the festival. You're running on empty and calling it strength. And it is strength, don't get me wrong. What you're doing is extraordinary. But you deserve someone who shows up when there is no audience, who takes the night shift, who takes you kid to their appointments without forgetting them, who hands you a spoon when your hands are full, who makes your life easier just because they love you, not because there is someone watching. I am still healing. I still carry anger. Sometimes, well, a lot of times. And I've made peace with the fact that healing isn't linear and it is not quick. And I know in my body, not just in my head, what real love feels like. And if you're in the thick of it right now, exhausted, invisible, wondering if you are asking for too much, you are not. You are a hero, a quiet, tired, extraordinary hero. A hero who has been doing the work of two people. But wait, they say it takes a village to raise a kid. Not only you are doing the work of two people, you're doing the work of the village because you are this village. Yet you're calling all of this a marriage. You deserve so much more than that. And one day, someone is going to hand you a spoon, and you're going to know the difference. I promise. If this story resonated with you, or you know someone who can benefit from listening to it, please share it with them. Please drop us a comment. What do you think? Have you ever experienced anything like we discovered in this story? What are your thoughts?